African Americans built the foundation of Kentucky's thoroughbred racing industry, a feat that for many years was unacknowledged, overlooked, and forgotten. In the first Kentucky Derby, 13 of the 15 jockeys were black. Black jockeys also won 15 of the first 28 derbies. The International Museum of the Horse is shining a new spotlight on this important piece of history with a permanent exhibit, Black Horsemen of the Kentucky Turf. Manager of the museum division, Amy Beisel, tells us more.
This exhibit is important because it tells the complete history. It doesn't leave anything out. The history of the thoroughbred industry in Kentucky is not always the glory that you might see on the track or the glory of the win. The men and sometimes women who cared for the horses, who rode the horses, who exercised the horses, who groomed them, who shod them, who fed them. All of the people that you saw behind the scenes, not just the famous jockeys, that were there helping to build this industry from the ground up. And those were, starting with the period of enslavement, they were historically African American when the thoroughbred industry was rising in Kentucky. They are groundbreaking because they are the ones who were first in the sport. The sport of thoroughbred racing in America was one of America's first pastimes. Next to boxing, it was the only other sport of its time that Americans looked to for entertainment. And so the African American men that you see in this exhibit are the ones who are the groundbreakers. They're the ones who brought the sport out. They're the ones who were famous. They're the ones who were being cheered for, who were training the horses, who were riding the horses. They were really America's first sports figures and popular, notable, famous sports figures. Isaac Burns Murphy was the winningest jockey of all time. He is the winningest jockey of all time. In his career, which spanned from the age of 14 to the age of 36, he had a 44% win rate, which is still unmatched to this day by any other jockey. He won 3 Kentucky Derbies. He won 4 American Derbies and 5 Latonia Derbies, which is an amazing record. You're going to see other notable African American horsemen as well, like Edward Dudley Brown, who trained and owned and raced his own horses. Another well-known African American jockey, Jimmy Winkfield, who rode on the tracks during the Jim Crow era and was pushed out of the industry in the United States and ended up having a prolific career in Europe. So there are a lot of people to learn about in this exhibit. Equine history is important to preserve because horses have been involved in humans' lives since the very beginning. Since domestication in 3500 BC, humans have utilized horses to benefit their lives in some way or another, be it through agriculture or as transportation during war, or even for pleasure or for competition. Horses touch our lives in so many ways, even through therapy. The overall goal of the International Museum of the Horse is to let our visitors to the Kentucky Horse Park have an introduction to horses, whether they have grown up with horses or they know nothing about horses at all. You're going to encounter the live, fleshed out replicas of the horse species and how it changed over time. You're going to be able to get up close to a Concord coach that would have carried people across the United States during the age of horse travel. Trophies from every horse of every type of win. You're going to see over 9, 10, 11, over 12 Derby trophies. The life-size skeleton of the horse Lexington, which was named after our city. The collection of the Calumet dynasty, which encompasses over 500 trophies. And you're going to see a collection of over 5 sets of Triple Crown trophies, which you will not see anywhere else in the world. Everything that you're going to see here helps us fulfill our mission of educating people about the horse and humans' history with horses. So, everything that you see is going to touch on a horse in some way, if it be from a jockey scale to a carriage, a piece of tack, a trophy, a horseshoe. Everything that you're going to encounter here are so focused on the horse and its history that it makes it unique and it brings its uniqueness here. Kentucky is the ideal location for the International Museum of the Horse because we're the horse capital of the world. People come from all over the world to Kentucky to experience the horse culture, to learn about horses, to get close to horses, to experience what we have to offer. And what better place to have a museum about horses than in the middle of all of that?
This is just one of many stories that can be heard and experienced only in Kentucky.